Do you ever feel like your brain is working against you? Notifications, emails, endless tasks. It's no wonder we're constantly distracted. But what if there was a way to cut through the chaos, calm your mind, and tackle life's toughest challenges with ease? Imagine being able to concentrate deeply, resist distractions, and start achieving your biggest goals. In today's video, we'll explore a powerful yet simple technique known as the Lotus Method. This method, inspired by ancient Eastern philosophy, is designed to help you train your brain to embrace challenges and focus on what matters. Follow along as we dive into the principles of the Lotus Method, a system that can help you break free from distraction and reach your full potential. Ben's struggle with resistance. Meet Ben. He's just like a lot of us, full of ambition but often struggling to put his plans into action. Ben wants to improve his fitness, get ahead at work, and build deeper relationships with his friends and family. He's committed, and he genuinely wants to make these changes. But every time he sets out to work on his goals, something seems to hold him back. His brain finds ways to avoid the difficult work, convincing him to scroll through his phone, watch a video, or find some other distraction. No matter how many self-help videos he watches or motivational podcasts he listens to, Ben feels stuck in this cycle, unable to take the meaningful steps that he knows are essential. This is more than just a Ben problem. It's something almost everyone faces. The brain has a natural resistance to discomfort, and when it senses a challenge, it pulls us toward easier, more comfortable options. Eastern philosophy describes this mental resistance as the monkey mind, a restless, scattered state that jumps from thought to thought, avoiding anything hard or unfamiliar. For Ben, like many of us, this resistance keeps him from making progress. He knows what he wants, but can't seem to break free from the comfort-seeking part of his mind. It's not just a lack of motivation, it's an internal struggle that he can't easily overcome. Awareness. The first step to overcoming resistance. As Ben reflects on his challenges, he realizes that simply trying to fight his mind's resistance head-on isn't working. No matter how hard he pushes, his brain always seems to find a way out. This brings Ben to the first principle of the Lotus Method: awareness. Before he can change his mind's habits, he has to understand them. Instead of beating himself up, Ben begins to observe his thoughts and recognize the brain's natural tendency to avoid discomfort. This shift is the beginning of true change. The human mind often resists difficult tasks because it's wired to protect us from discomfort. When Ben understands this, he can finally stop blaming himself and start seeing his resistance as a natural response. Rather than viewing his mind as an enemy, he starts seeing it as something he can work with. He begins to pause each time he feels the pull toward comfort, acknowledging his thoughts without judgment. This simple act of observing without reacting gives him the space to respond with intention. Awareness, he realizes, is the foundation of change. The more Ben observes his mind without pushing or criticizing, the more he begins to see his mind as something he can guide rather than something he needs to battle. Learning to flow, finding ease in hard tasks. With a growing sense of awareness, Ben learns about another powerful concept from ancient Eastern philosophy: Wu Wei, or non-resistance. Wu Wei teaches that sometimes progress doesn't come from pushing harder, but from letting go of the struggle altogether. Instead of battling against his mind, Ben decides to work with it, allowing himself to move with the natural flow of life, rather than trying to force every action. At first, this idea of non-resistance sounds strange to Ben. How could he possibly accomplish anything without forcing himself to work harder? But the more he reflects on it, the more he realizes that he's been fighting an uphill battle with his own mind. Wu Wei encourages him to see each challenge not as an obstacle to push through, but as a part of life's natural flow. By simply accepting the challenge instead of dreading it, he finds that tasks feel lighter and easier to approach. Laozi, the ancient philosopher who popularized this concept, said, "By letting go, it all gets done." When Ben stops forcing himself and begins accepting each task, he experiences a shift. He's finally able to work with less resistance and more ease. The power of stillness, gaining clarity through reflection. Ben's journey brings him to the next principle of the Lotus Method, stillness. In today's fast-paced world, we often equate productivity with constant movement and action, but Ben soon realizes that sometimes the most profound breakthroughs come not through doing more, but through practicing stillness. He learns about zazen, a form of sitting meditation from Zen Buddhism. Zazen encourages him to sit quietly, without distraction, and simply observe his thoughts. At first, this practice feels almost impossible for Ben. His mind is used to being constantly stimulated, and the silence feels uncomfortable. But as he practices, Ben starts noticing a calming effect. His thoughts, once racing and chaotic, begin to settle, much like a stormy lake that calms when the wind dies down. In this stillness, Ben finds clarity. He realizes that many of the challenges he faces aren't as overwhelming as they seemed. They're simply opportunities to grow. Instead of rushing from task to task, he takes a step back, observes his mind, and allows his thoughts to settle. This calm state of mind gives him the strength and focus he needs to take on difficult tasks with a clear head. Action with intention, turning reflection into focused effort. With the clarity that stillness brings, Ben understands that it's now time to act. But instead of taking on too much at once or rushing through tasks, he decides to approach each action with intention and purpose. He finds inspiration in the disciplined focus of Shaolin monks who combine meditation with physical action, creating harmony between mind and body. For Ben, this means tackling each task, whether big or small, with complete focus and dedication. Shaolin monks believe that true mastery comes from aligning mind and body, allowing for both clarity and action. Ben realizes that meditation alone won't help him achieve his goals. He must also take steps to apply that inner peace to his daily actions. By focusing fully on one task at a time, Ben avoids the burnout that comes from trying to do too much at once. He discovers that when his mind is calm, he's able to complete tasks with less stress and more purpose. This alignment of inner clarity and outer action allows him to accomplish more than he ever thought possible without feeling overwhelmed or scattered. Embracing patience, the lotus and the power of time. As Ben incorporates the principles of the Lotus Method into his life, he begins to see progress. But it's slow, and at times he feels frustrated. The results aren't coming as quickly as he'd hoped, and the temptation to go back to old habits is strong. However, Ben remembers the lesson of the lotus flower. The lotus grows slowly through thick mud before it blooms into something beautiful. It doesn't rush the process, it unfolds in its own time. This metaphor reminds Ben to be patient with himself. He realizes that growth doesn't happen overnight and that every small step brings him closer to his goals. The journey might be long, but by embracing patience, he's able to let go of the frustration that once held him back. He understands that just like the lotus, his own growth will come when the time is right. This lesson in patience becomes a powerful tool for Ben, helping him to stay calm and focused, trusting that each effort will ultimately lead him to the results he desires. So, where are you on this journey? Like Ben, are you struggling to overcome mental resistance, find focus, or be patient with yourself? The Lotus Method offers a pathway to breaking free from these challenges. Start with one step: awareness, flow, stillness, intentional action, or patience. By embracing even one of these principles, you'll begin to train your brain to work with you, not against you. If this video inspired you, hit that subscribe button and let's continue this journey of mastering the mind together. Until next time, live with purpose and stay inspired.